Hello everyone, Chocolo here for another video review. This time we have the McVitie's V.I.Bs Classic Caramel Bliss. Yeah, so it's one of the new, I mean they've just come fresh off the back of another limited edition range of what I assume was Great British flavours, but were never properly marketed that way, at least in the supermarkets and things, and on the packet. But they've done these V.I.B ones now, which I assume is a very important biscuit. Now, I don't know if it was written somewhere in the shop on the marketing or on the the boards, whatever, but it's just automatically gone into my head that it's a very important biscuit, because V.I.P is a very important person. I think it goes without saying it's a very important biscuit, so correct me if I'm wrong. So this one, yeah, Classic Caramel Bliss. So basically, it's a chocolate digestive with caramel underneath the chocolate. So what does it sort of say? It says caramel and milk chocolate digestives. And on the back, we've got the official description. Wheatmeal biscuits with caramel covered in milk chocolate. There we go. Yes, I've just come off the back of reviewing the basically the same, but with hazelnut caramel. What was it called? Very hard to manoeuvre them. Heavenly chocolate hazelnut. It was called. Now, interestingly, in the description, it didn't say hazelnut caramel, but it did on the back. On this mini description under there, it just said the same as this one: caramel and milk chocolate digestives. I think it said. So on the back, it says it was hazelnut caramel. But basically, yeah, long story short is I was a bit disappointed with the hazelnut in there. I couldn't taste it at all really. So I'm interested to see what the difference is between these and that one. There's a third in the range, blood orange, luscious blood orange. I'm assuming that's exactly the same, but it's orange flavoured caramel. So we'll see that when we review it. But hopefully that will have a distinct flavour anyway. But you never know, we'll see. Yeah, it's this one. Nice packaging. It's yellow this time. The one was purple and the blood orange is orange. Well, it's like a ready orange, but or a blood orange. So yes, so there we go. So yeah, it looks quite nice. I mean, I think there's no there's no question about what's in it. But let's just check actually, because again, I don't think there's any. This one, basically, the heavenly chocolate one, I would expect to be. Yeah, it's exactly the same. There's no hazelnuts or anything on the wrapper. I've just noticed. So I was just thinking on this one it had caramel on it. Basically, they're all exactly the same. They've just changed the colour. So this one's rather than purple, it's yellow or golden. So there's no like hazelnuts on the other one. There's no oranges on the blood orange one. And there is caramel on this one, but it's the same caramel that's on the other one. So right, no artificial colours, flavours, or no hydrogenated or hydrogenated vegetable oil. Yeah, so there we go. So yeah, before I forget, actually, so I have reviewed, reviewing the other two, I reviewed one of them. I reviewed lots of other biscuits as well, and overall I've done over 600 videos now, believe it or not. And so in this corner here, there'll be a playlist to all my other reviews as well, and at some point I'll add in playlists for the biscuits and things like this as well, so that when you click on it you might see others as well. But yeah, it'll disappear, but obviously it's always there. You just have to well, maybe not obviously actually, but it is always there. You just put your, click on it to put your finger over it, or however you use it, whatever device you're using, and it will reappear, and if you click on it you can go view my other playlists as well. But of course subscribe first. That's if you like my videos, of course, and but hopefully you will. Okay, so let's get back onto this. So yeah, interesting one. So all the calories wise, so it's a 250 gram pack, and it says per biscuit 16.7 grams. It should be 15 biscuits in a pack basically. It's 80 calories, 3.6 grams of fat, 1.5 of which are saturates, I think, or was it 1.9? 80 calories, 3.6 grams of fat, 1.9 of which are saturates. So there we go. So are they all the same? I think they might all be the same actually. Yeah. So basically it's just flavouring that's the difference. And there's presumably no calories in the flavouring. So that's the only difference between these. It's literally just flavour that's put into the caramel, or presumably the caramel anyway. Yeah, so we've got one, this is the plain one with just caramel. We've got one with an orange flavoured caramel and one with a hazelnut flavoured caramel, apparently. Okay, so it's very, very slight. So suitable vegetarians. What have we got? Anything else on here worth saying? It's got like a recycle pack thing on there. I think it's trying to say the whole thing. Well, yeah, film it says on it. I'm not too sure what that means. I assume it means the whole thing's recyclable. I don't know. It doesn't really. I think there's a bit of confusion as to what's these recycled things mean. Some of them mean that yeah, the other ones are suitable for vegetarians as well. I was just checking. But some of it means it's you think it means recycle, but apparently it doesn't necessarily, or it only means part of it, or something like that. This I don't know. Don't quote me on it. It could be completely wrong, but there's very nuanced meanings behind these sort of like recycle symbols on here. and they're not as you'd expect sometimes. So it's worth looking into if you're a recycler. Okay, I don't think there's much more to say really. I mean, you know, it looks quite nice. I think you're not going to be too surprised if it's a caramel one. There is ridiculous flourishes on these, which I'll come into when I open it in a second, and I think that's where we should get to. So let's do it. Give it a go. Right, okay, once I'm going to open these McVitie's V.I.Bs, what's it called? Classic Caramel Bliss. There you go, so let's give these over. Now, first of all, I'm going to measure this across, so they've got a lot of flourishes here, as you can see. So, let's give it a measure, shall we? So it's difficult to measure it perfectly, because obviously, you know, it's you know, scrunched up and things, but let's give it a rough try. So basically goes to, I mean, you know, about pretty well, I mean 19.5 basically, 19.5 centimetres, yep, tip to toe. So let's give these an open. I'm expecting a 7 centimetre deficit between the 19.5 centimetres and what we've got actually in the biscuit range. So we should get to about 12.5 basically. I'm assuming it's going to be pretty much. Now it's a very warm day today here in the UK, and these are sort of the melting. There's no two ways about it, so I have to be careful. But yeah, so obviously it's not going to be a perfect measurement, but it's going to be as near as I can get. So I'm expecting 12.5 centimetres. I'll do this before I start. And so you know what? I've got pretty much 12.5. Obviously they are slanted a bit, but I'm using a bit of leeway. I think it should actually be less than 12 really. But 12.5. I'm going to give him 12.5. So it's 7 centimetres lost. So it's 12.5, and there's 7 centimetres more by the length of the packaging. That's over 50% loss from the flourishes. So this is making you think that there's over 50% more biscuits in here subconsciously. Now I know you might think, oh, you know, I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking I can see it's flourishes, but that's not how it works. You subconsciously, when you see something with bigger size, you think it is bigger than that. I know you might even think, oh yeah, there are flourishes. I know I'm expecting less. But the fact is, it makes you think that the pack contains more or is bigger than it is. So it's a joke really. And we've all seen them, as I say, those lines where it's got like a line in our maths class at school, and it has like sort of edges coming off it. I'll probably do a caption for what I'm talking about. And if the edges are going outwards, it makes the line in the middle look bigger, look longer than it is if they just come inwards, and that's exactly the trick they're playing here. And I know you might say, oh, it aids opening, or it's just the way it is, they're not meaning to do that. But they have done, and probably still do, I'm sure of it, packs of biscuits that are tight. They used to do even digestives in it, I don't know if they still do, where it's just literally tight, there's no flourishes at all, and they're as tight as can be against the biscuits. Because you can bet any money that, if it saves them money on packaging, by making them smaller, they'll do it, because obviously to fit more in a truck, in a box, in a truck, saves them petrol, saves them time, whatever. But so they will make them as thin as they can if it benefits them. But if they can produce less of a so-called quality premium product like this one, which is why the regular digestives come in a massive pack and are bigger than the milk chocolate ones and stuff. If they can make less of a premium one, then they will do that, and so they'll make up the loss in packaging space that they need to, can put less in the truck by charging you 50% more for it. So don't be under any illusions that they're doing this for any other benefit than themselves. It's not just a whim that they've done it for, or just for the sake of it, or because they couldn't. It's just the way it was. It's purposefully done. Okay, so anyway, that aside, so there we go. So let's pick one out. So they're all obviously the same size, all these types. I mean, literally they're all the same, other than the, so let's have a look. Other than the flavouring, so 6.5 centimetres in diameter, and 0.6 centimetres high. Now I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but I think it needs to be said. I always complain in things like Skittles, where basically they have, say, 30 purple ones and 15 red ones, 13 raspberry or whatever, 15 raspberry and 15 blueberry or something like that, whatever the flavours are. Now, when you bear in mind that for these biscuits, the only difference is the flavours, and they get the same amount in each pack, it's exactly the same technology you'd assume, and that can make them get the same in each pack with a different flavour. So they're putting different flavours into them, and still resulting in the same amount of biscuits at the end. It's not random, is it? They're not like, oh, hang on, we've only got, so we've got, rather than 15, we've got 7 in here, because the process, that's what allowed us. You know, so if that was the case, if what, you know, M&Ms do, and well, Skittles rather, do, and probably M&Ms, with their colour distributions or flavour distributions, then that would be the same with everything that has only a flavour difference, like this pack. So when they're producing them, they're producing random amounts, but they know exactly when there's 15, because there is 15 in here, we'll double check in a second, have gone into this pack. So there's no reason for Skittles and M&Ms and whoever else, Smarties, to not have equal distributions in there, other than the fact that they either do it for whatever purpose that is, whether it's because it's cheaper for one flavour than another, or whether they just do it for aesthetics reasons, or whether they do it to try and make you buy more, even if it's only one in 100 people, but will buy an extra pack because they want more of the purple ones. So again, you know, so let's have a look. So there should be 15 in here. 5, 10, 15. 15. There you go. So, and there's 15 in the last one. And I'd be surprised if there wasn't 15 of the blood orange ones as well. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, there we are. So it's a bit melty, as I say today. If I hold them, start to melt. I don't think I showed the last one. It's a typical McVitie's back to it. It just says McVitie's and it's got the dimples there. Does it say anything? Sometimes it says something, but other than McVitie's that is, but no, not this time. I don't think there's room on the chocolate digestive ones, whereas I think on the regular ones, which are slightly bigger, there is. So there you go. So chocolate covering. So we'll give it a snap. Move the plate a bit closer. You can see there, if you snap it, it doesn't cleanly snap because of the caramel. Ooh, it's quite tough to pull this one actually. There we go. Yes, there we are, that's what we're up against. And you can see thin layer of chocolate, I think you'd say. A relatively thin layer of caramel as well. But it does lip over the end slightly, the chocolate. But not enough to change the circumference actually. 6.5 centimetres. We'll check that, but it wasn't in the last one. Yeah, 6 centimetres actually. Did I say 6.5? Yeah, 6 centimetres. Yeah. Okay, well, I think we should give these a taste. Let's get into it. Let's do it. Let's go. Also going to give these, what are they? McVitie's V.I.Bs Classic Caramel Blisses, or Bliss, I'm going to pluralise it, a taste. So basically it's a milk chocolate digestive with caramel as well. So they did use these in the old days, but the caramel's very thick, and I don't think it's as thick as what's in, I don't think these are as thick. But we'll see, we'll give them a taste, let's find out. So let's do it. Got half of one here. Not bad. Quite yeah, a bit more of a plain caramel. I would say, I was debating whether in the sort of like the hazelnut caramel ones, whether the hazelnut was quite prominent, and there's definitely a different taste in them, but I don't think it's a hazelnut difference. It's just sort of maybe a sweetness or something. But okay, yeah. So let's give the other half a taste. Let's see. A quarter, as it turned out. The caramel's quite thin. I'm sure it used to be a lot more chewy in the old caramel ones when they first did it. Yeah. It's still there. But it's definitely not as prominent as it used to be in the old ones, I'm sure of it. You used to get a real chew out of these, but these ones you don't. Let's give it a bit of a dunk. Let's give it a bit of a dunkage. I do have a handy warm cup of coffee. See? Yeah, it doesn't do much for these dunking them. No, I would say it's almost impossible. So on a biscuit, it isn't better when dunked. I mean, some of them have very small tolerances for sort of you know, for basically falling and landing in your brew or whatever. But these ones, you have to be careful with those. But they still taste nice. But these ones don't really have any added value when you dunk them, and it doesn't really seem to melt the chocolate enough or the caramel enough. I mean, I guess they would hold together for quite well because of the caramel, so you could hold them in for long. Let's see. That's a trick. I think because the caramel and the chocolate's quite strong, Well, the caramel's quite strong. And can withstand a longer dunk, basically. And I think that might be the trick to these ones. I think you have to, dunk it for quite some time to get the proper benefit from it. And it didn't taste too bad, actually. I think that's the thing. Yeah, I didn't quite give them long enough when I dunked the hazelnut ones. I think you do have to, keep them there for quite some time. So I think that's the trick to these ones. I think that's purely down to the caramel. I don't know why it is actually. You still think the chocolate would melt, but the caramel doesn't melt enough, I think. So when you bite it, because the chocolate's bound relatively to the caramel, it just doesn't seem to melt in the way you'd expect and doesn't soften in the way you'd expect. So you do have to dunk it for quite some time, actually. So I think that's the trick to it, actually. And they do taste nice. But yeah, so I've got the hazelnut caramel here. So I'm going to taste this one with the regular caramel one. Let's do the hazelnut one first. So, hard to say when you're not palate cleansed. I mean, the hazelnut one's just generally better, I think, because it just has something else in it. It doesn't really taste of hazelnut, really. It just tastes sweeter. Or seems to. The regular caramel one just seems to taste a bit plain, really, and a bit boring, you know. And the hazelnut one doesn't really taste of hazelnut. It just has something in it. I mean, there is, if you really, 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 really sat there and thought about what flavour it could possibly be, you might come to hazelnut, but you'd never tell, really, I don't think, unless you knew and were trying to work out if it has something in it and what that could possibly be other than hazelnut. But it just generally just tastes a bit, it just has a more of a fuller taste, I think. So that is better than these ones, but it's not by much. And of course, if you wanted the hazelnut one, you probably would have gone for that over the caramel one anyway. Yeah, let's have see another regular one. So that's the regular one. Caramel doesn't really taste of anything. Yeah. And the hazelnut one does have a better taste. You could perhaps say, it's hard. I mean, yes, okay, that time I did get more of a hazelnut taste. It seems to be it doesn't seem to happen every time though, but I did get a bit of a hazelnut taste then. It's not very strong at all. You're not talking Nutella strength, but it is there actually. It's very subtle, but it just gives it a nicer taste. I'm not a really big fan of nuts, I taste of nuts generally. Really, I kind of like them when they've been sort of honeyed or sweetened or something, So I'm not a big. Even like Nutella and things. I'm not that bothered about it. I'd rather just have plain chocolate. But in this case, the regular caramel one just has a bit of a mundane taste to it. It just does a bit mundane, really. Whereas the hazelnut one just has a bit of a added kick to it, just where it just seems to. It feels like it tastes sweeter. It might be because I don't know why. It just feels like it tastes sweeter. It has something else to it, other than just maybe a slight hazelnut taste. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, every now and again you do get hazelnut taste, so it's hard for me to say whether just to go for the hazelnut ones because there is a hazelnut taste sometimes in it. It's sometimes detectable, sometimes it isn't. It's very hard to say. It's quite subtle either way though. You don't always get it, and sometimes only as an aftertaste, if at all. Yeah, so for these ones, it's hard for me to say. They're very plain, really, even though you'd think they'd be quite exciting. I don't feel like the caramel's prominent enough. There's something a bit not quite. And same with all of them, really. The caramel's not very thick, and I don't know. I feel like there's something missing. I don't know. It's just a lack of a flavour. Just removes any kind of novelty. Because the caramel's not that. It's quite a thin caramel. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm going to say a 3 out of 5 for these ones. I think the bar's quite high nowadays with biscuits and things. I just don't think there's any real wow factor to these regular caramel ones at all. I don't know why. I think maybe about 2, 3, 4 years ago maybe I would have given them a higher mark, but I don't know. I think now I'm just expecting more really, especially from the packaging, and of course there's also the fact that the packaging looks, can't really hold it properly because I've put it all over the place. But especially from the fact as well now that especially from the fact also that this the packaging is 7 centimeters longer than it should be, so which is over half the length of the biscuits. So yeah, so it's ridiculous really. So yeah, I'm not going to mark it down because of that though, because I think it's not going to reflect properly on the actual product itself. As I say, sometimes I might do that with ones that are borderline 5 out of 5, but I've got to bring them down because that does matter then. But in this case, I think it's just not going to reflect well on the biscuit itself to put it below average. Yeah, so 3 being average. So yes, I think it is an average biscuit, I would say. I mean, of course, the McVitie's digestive as well. Would that be lower than average now, like a plain one? I don't think so, because I think that's you're expecting a digestive biscuit, and it probably is the epitome of average really. I know you could say throwing on some chocolate and caramel should raise it above average, but I think a chocolate biscuit nowadays is quite a standard affair, and this is quite a standard chocolate biscuit, even though it's got caramel on. The caramel's not raising it really. It's not thick enough. It's not exciting enough. It's not, the flavour's not good enough. There's no caramel flavour there really. It's just a sort of texture, and it's not a great texture either. It's just quite subtle, as I say. It's not thick enough. I'm sure the older ones used to be a lot thicker caramel than these ones, which made them a bit more distinct. But this one, it's just a bit too thin, and it just doesn't really lift it that much. So yeah. So 3 out of 5 for these ones, that's what I think anyway. Let me know what you think, and which one of these is your favourite. I say the blood orange one, the regular caramel one, or the hazelnut caramel. Let me know what you think. As I say, they're all the same other than different flavoured caramels. That's the despite what it looks like on the product or whatever, it's just the caramels are flavoured differently. So, but let me know what you think. And yeah, hope you like my videos. Subscribe, like my videos, as I say. Leave comments for free. Follow Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and these things, or anything else you can think of that I'm there. And as I say, leave a comment for free. It's really great to hear from you. It really is. So I'll always reply. So it's lovely to hear from you. Okay, take care, guys. Have a lovely day. Bye for now. See ya.